Hi, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today, we're gonna answer some of your questions and comments. Some of them are nice, some of them are not so nice. Gonna do a nice, healthy mix. But as always, if you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. That's a free way to support the channel. We also have channel memberships, affiliate links, all that jazz. But without further ado, let's just jump into your questions. I know that there's a little bit less content this week. I got very sick a couple days ago, so yeah, I don't know. You can still kind of hear in my voice, but I was just trying to kind of recover from that. So I don't know. I feel like I try to get at least 2 videos a week. In the summer, it's a little bit different, and yeah, I just try to make the content as I can. That'll definitely increase as we get into fall and there's more to cover, and this is always a nice way to just answer your questions and connect with you guys, because sometimes I see comments, but I've got all these ski reviews and I've got travel, and I don't know, it just seems like a really nice time to slow down, connect with you guys more directly. So let's jump right into your questions and comments. All right, Paul Sabucci says, "Ciao from Italy to you, Elliott, and all the viewers of this channel. I really appreciate your untainted reviews. You have the experience to detect the finer nuances between skis that us lesser skiers would struggle to appreciate." I mean, I would just say that maybe you struggled to appreciate it yet. Like, everybody is growing and developing, and like, I'm always learning things or like trying to master something. So I don't know, I wouldn't be too hard on yourself there, and would be interesting to find out who makes the worst skis, but not from a performance point of view, but rather for quality of build and durability. Yeah, I would love to make that, and I always try to call that out in my reviews when I see it. That is one of the very few perks of getting a demo ski versus a ski sent by the company, because I can see the ski after it's got some mileage on it. I can see when the top sheets are starting to chip and fray away. The problem with doing a video about that, of like who has the worst quality control or what skis tend to fail, is that my sample size is way too small to know, right? I would have to have way more data to know, right? Because I can get a bad pair, but that doesn't mean all of them are bad, or could just be that batch from that company. I do try to call it out when I can, but I just don't want to make an observation about a ski brand that is very anecdotal to that one ski. I will say though that I have seen a pattern that there are generations of skis that seem to have issues with their quality control. God, about 3, 4, 5 years ago, Blizzard had a period where all of their top sheets just looked like they had gone through a wood chipper. Whatever the glue was that's holding those layers together, it could have also been the shape of the tips. There's something about it where I would always, from the rental shop, see the chips just frayed off. If you were riding the chairlift with other people with those skis, you would see a lot of those like old Blizzard Brahmas or Rustlers just seem to really struggle with the delamination. Some of that could be too that they had contrasting colors, like they'd have a blue over an orange, so it was really obvious. I've also personally, anecdotally, had issues with my Salomon QSTs where they were starting to fray way too soon because they were powder skis, they weren't getting that much mileage. Some of it could have been unlucky with snow conditions, but Idaho has pretty mild conditions. So I wasn't too crazy about my Salomon QST 106s and their delamination, or what do you call it, like where like just the very tips of them started to fray. It's hard too though, like some of it is like, okay, well if that happens and they have good customer support and you get them covered under warranty, then maybe that's not a big deal. I had a pair of Atomic Hawks boots where the way that the plastic was lining up, they had buckled into each other, but Atomic warranted those boots and sent me a new pair. So I don't know, you gotta kind of find a healthy mix of reliability, durability, quality control, but also what does our customer service look like? And honestly, that is a big reason why I don't recommend a lot of those made in China brands, because those brands tend to have a combination of not good quality control and also little to almost no customer support. What's another brand? Sometimes every once in a while I'll catch a pair of Atomic Bents looking a little frayed, but then that doesn't always feel fair too, because those skis do really well in the brush and the bramble, and that adds a little bit of wear and tear. The Salomon Stances, I see a little bit of it on. I had my Atomic Mavericks where when I got in that crash, they told me the Titanal that had frayed off wasn't structural. That gave me indigestion for about a week. I was so frustrated with that email. Yeah, I would say those are the big ones. Like older, like last gen, 5 to 6 years ago, Blizzards, I think they, for whatever reason, those The top layer didn't seem to be very good. Salomon QSTs I've noticed tend to fray off a little bit more. They may have fixed in the last couple of years, but the 2023 QST 106 that I had, I was not impressed, and they didn't cover it. And Atomic, every once in a while you'll see it, but again, they spend so much time in the brush for me in Idaho, and I've had the 2023s for what, 2 or 3 seasons now. That's probably normal wear and tear. I've seen a little bit more fraying of that top layer than I would see on like my Volkls. Like especially the Volkl Blazes, I've taken those so hard in the woods and they still look brand new. At least the top sheets. So yeah, it varies from brand to brand. It's hard though. I don't want to like make an indefinite stamp because I just don't have enough data to say that. But anecdotally, those are the brands that I've seen where I do see some fraying off of the top. But again, they all, for the most part, have a pretty good warranty system. So take that for what it's worth. All right, 77 Hooli says, would you consider yourself a good carver? Oh, Jesus. Now we know where this comment's going. Just looking at your POV, your left leg, when downhill, is always tail out, not parallel. What? Oh, you think I'm A-framing? Yeah, you're supposed to have more downhill pressure. What? Okay. Look when your right leg downhill versus left. You can clearly see a big difference in your stance distance between skis and turn shape. We all have a dominant turn side and shape, but you're not in an advanced carving position. Oh, I'm not in an advanced carving position. I must be in a beginner carving position. Okay. Let me give this person the benefit of the doubt. I will say that one thing I've noticed is some of that gets exaggerated by the fisheye lens of the GoPro, right? Because I just have it on my chest. It's a 360 camera, so it has like a sphere camera, and it even has like a little sphere lens over the top. 2, I definitely do have a dominant leg. I mean, some of it is exaggerated by the fall line of the trail sometimes, but I do have a favorite leg. I don't remember which one it is though. It's funny, like I think I was dominant on one and then I was like trying to learn on the other, so I compensated, and so I switched which was my dominant leg at one point. Some of that also can be by your foot size. I have 2 different size feet. It's about a size to a size and a half difference between my left foot and my right foot. And with ski boots, you can't just go out and buy 2 different size ski boots. So a lot of what I have to do is kind of compensate for that with like, okay, let's fit the smaller foot and then pack out the liner of the bigger foot. So sometimes what can happen is like when it gets soft or the skiing gets warm out, there's more wiggle room in that foot and the boot just feels a little bit less responsive. That being said though, you don't think I'm in an advanced carving position? Okay, here's what I'll say honestly. Post a video of you skiing. Any video. I looked through your YouTube channel, it's all not you skiing, or what I did see if that was you skiing. I don't know why you're saying stuff like that to me. But yeah, post a video, and in all honesty, I will like do a side-by-side and I'll compare our skiing. Typically when people leave kind of like bitey comments like that, they never actually post their own skiing. And you know, you can talk very confidently when you're just kind of sitting behind your computer. But you know, I'm not a perfect skier. I'm not the best carver, but I was like a scholarship athlete ski racer for like division, there's only 2 divisions. There's D1 and like USCSA. So, and even then, like on my team, I was not the best racer. I'm a pretty good racer, but compared to the average skier, if you don't think I'm advanced carving, that's crazy. I mean, like, if you have any race background, you understand the difference, and I don't know. If you don't like my skiing, I don't know what to tell you, but I know my skiing is pretty good. Is it perfect? No. Are there better skiers? Absolutely. Zach's way better. You know, any guys who ski D1 or World Cup are obviously better than me. But like my carving compared to the average skier, come on, you gotta be joking. Like, I'm definitely a good skier. Am I insecure about like 100 other things? Absolutely. I'm not the best at most things. But for skiing, you know, like having gone through the BMA junior program, I don't know why, I've just been yelled at so much about my skiing, it doesn't really affect me anymore. And in good faith, I honestly would love to make a video comparing our skiing if you get the chance. If not, that's fine too. All right, Greg Miller E9H says, can you talk a bit about mounting points? Really enjoy the channel and I'm learning a lot, thanks. Yeah, mounting points, what they're talking about is like where the binding is mounted on the ski. The tricky part is that it's not uniform across all brands, right? So you have to like figure out what it is you like. I find that if I don't like a ski or if the tail feels like it's dragging while I'm carving, typically 1 to 2 clicks back on the ski helps. I've never had a ski where I wanted to be more forward mounted. Again, I'm not a freestyle guy, so maybe that's partially why. But yeah, where the ski is mounted can affect a lot of it. It could affect like how much of the ski you have in the front and what shape that makes. It can affect turning radius. It can affect how things feel for smoothness. For me being a bigger guy, I tend to like 1 to 2 clicks back generally. But for skis like Volkl or the Atomic Maverick or head cores, I don't need to change the mounting point at all. So it just depends on what you like. And you can go too far back where you have way too much ski in the front and the ski just starts turning on its own. Mounting point can affect a lot of different things. For me, carving or for powder flotation, I like to be a little bit more back on the ski, but your mileage may vary based on what you want the ski to do. I find that typically more forward skis, you're getting more into that freestyle kind of short radius turn. With a little bit back, you have a little bit more momentum, a little bit more room for those smooth open radius turns. I also find the flotation to be a little bit different, but it totally depends on the ski shape and what kind of ski it is. Is it a powder ski? Is it an all mountain ski? Generally with all mountain skis though, I do find 1 click back usually serves me well if I don't like the ski initially. And you know, I try really hard. If I feel like something's off with the ski, I will tell you in that review what mounting point I changed it to and how I liked it for that. All right, last comment. Fern Campos 385. Hi Elliott, thanks for answering the fitness question. I asked it about several weeks ago, as I'm sure many people do. I do ski hard with my advanced skiing sons who are in their early 20s. I'm just thankful that I'm healthy enough to keep up with them on the runs. Honestly, like I think about that a lot. How long is your ski career? What's your quality of life? I ski in a way where I don't like take big risks, so I think you're really smart with that. I'm currently 53 years old and I'm noticing that my legs are running out of gas before the mountain closes, quad burn, cramping. I work out 4 times a week when I focus on running and core strength exercise. I live in California, so I try to surf as often as I can. I used to mountain bike, I stopped. I kept hurting myself as I just did not have the will to ride slow downhill, LOL. I appreciate your videos, keep up the good work. Well, I'm glad you found the video helpful. Yeah, the quad burning is a real thing and running is very different muscles. Because I used to run cross country and track in college. You couldn't tell looking at me now, but I used to be a runner and I ski race. So I was like a 3-season athlete in college. And it is very different muscles. It is good though, because sometimes people who only work the quads, they don't build out the strength in their hamstrings. And that's how you can get like ACLs being torn, things like that. Again, I'm a creative writing major, so take this all with a grain of salt. It's a bummer that you stop biking. I guess it's good if it was gonna get you hurt, but I have found when I go to my local mountain and go to the gravity park and do those runs on the mountain bike, that a lot of that like standing up and going down the run gives me that same kind of, is it lactic acid buildup in my quads? And I think that if you could find that just once a week, if you have a local gravity park and just do some big, like it doesn't have to be steep and dangerous. You can do those kind of roller trails. A lot of them are like green circles or blue squares, but find those kind of smooth rolling trails. What do they call that? I forget, there's a name for it. And that just length of like standing on your bike, having the balance, I think it gives you a lot of that same burn in your quads and maybe could help with that long-term being built out. Obviously there's like weight exercises you could do as well. But that's my 2 cents of things that I found have been the most familiar for building out that kind of quad strength. So anyway, that's the end of the video. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. I'll have a list of affiliate links. These are all the kind of like deals I've been combing through lately. So if you're looking for some pretty banging deals, this is always the best time of year to buy skis. You can become a channel member. You can donate to the channel if you want. You don't need to. As always, more than anything though, just thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.
Why not?